Hi fifth graders, today we're going to learn about 4 types of triangles, adding mixed numbers, time conversions, and multiplying fractions. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with the types of triangles. We're given equilateral, isosceles, scalene, and right triangle. And in order to find out if a triangle is equilateral is to see if all sides are equal. Then, in order to find isosceles triangles, only 2 of the sides have to be equal. And for scalene, all sides are unequal. And as for right triangles, they have a right angle or a 90 degrees angle. So we're gonna figure out whether triangles number 1, 2, 3, or 4 are either equilateral, isosceles, scalene, or right angle. So we're gonna get started with number 1, triangle number 1. Now we see that this side and this side seem to be about the same length, and it seems as though the same could be said for this one, for the bottom one, the base one. So we can say that triangle 1 is part of an equilateral triangle. Triangle 1 is considered an equilateral triangle. Now let's look at number 2. Now we see that these two may be equal, but we can't say that for sure, right? And we know that this hypotenuse right here is not equal at all, but we know that there is a right angle right here. We can see it. Oh, that's a horrible square. There's like a right angle right there. So we can assume that triangle 2 is a right angle triangle. Now let's look at number 3. Now we see that this side right there is not equal to any of the other sides, so we can't say that for sure. However, these two sides seem to be about the same, so we can say that the triangle 3 is an isosceles triangle. And as for number 4, it's easy to spot that neither of the sides have the same length, and there is no obvious right angle given or 90 degrees angle given. So we can assume that triangle 4 is scalene. Triangle 4. And yet to keep looking at these 8 other triangles and assume whether they fit into these categories right here. Now we're going to do adding mixed numbers. We're going to do number 7 together. Number 7 gave us 3 over 3.5 plus 1 and 1/4. So we're gonna add the whole number and the fractions separately, okay? So we're gonna start off with the fractions. So we see that the denominator for this one is 2 and the denominator for this one is 4. And we know that the LCM for the both of these is just 4. And seeing as though this already has a 4, we just need to multiply this one by 4. So 1/2 times 4 times 2, right, will give us 4. So give us 2 over 4. Now that we have 2 over 4, we just add it with 1/4. So we add it with 1/4. And when you add, the denominators just stays the same. So it's going to be 4, and the top is going to be 3. And we know that 3 plus 1 is just 4. So we're going to have 4 over 3/4. However, another way you can do it is by turning these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So you do 3 times 2 plus 1, so you'll get 7 over 2, plus 1 times 4 plus 1, so 5 over 4. But you still need to find the LCM of the denominators, so you have to multiply 7 over 2 by 2, right? And you'll get 14 over 4 plus 5 over 4. And you get 19 over 4, which should be the same thing as 4 over 3/4. So you can choose to have your answer as 4 over 3/4 as a mixed number, or as an improper fraction as 19 over 4. Now let me check our answers just to make sure. Yep, 4 over 3/4. And because it should be the same, because when you divide 19 by 4, you should get 4.75. Let me check our calculator just to make sure. And yep, you get 4.75, which is the same thing as 4 and 3/4. Now let's turn to conversions, or time conversions. So we're already given that 1 week equals 7 days. So we need to remember that. This is important. 1 week equals 7 days. And we know that 2 weeks means 2 times 7. Because we're given 1 week equals 7 days. So we just need to do 2 over blank. And in order to get from 1 to 2, you just multiply by 2. So you're also going to multiply 7 by 2. And your x turns into 14. So 2 weeks equals 14 days. And you keep going on. So obviously we see the pattern. Since we're going to move on to over here, it gives us 28 days. And so we're given 1 week equals 7 days equals blank weeks equals 28 days. And we know that 7 times 4 gives us 28. So we're going to multiply the top by 4 too. And we get x equals 4. So it's obvious that it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to assume that this right here is going to be, this row is going to be 3. So we're going to do 3 weeks over blank equals 1 week over 7. So we are multiplying by 3, multiplying by 3. So right here will be 21. Now let's check our answers. 10 conversions. 3, 21, 4, 28. Yep. Now it says right here for the bottom, it gives us 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So once again, we need to keep that in mind because that's important. And we need to find how many minutes go into 2 hours. So we get 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So, but we're given that 2 hours equals blank minutes. And we know that to get from 1 to 2, we multiply by 2. So we're going to multiply by 2. So we're going to multiply the bottom by 2 too. And you get 120. So x equals 120. And that should be the answer for right here. Now we're going to do it for 180 minutes. So we're given 1 hour equals 60 minutes, right? And we're given 180 minutes, but we don't know how many hours it's been. So we're going to put an x. And we know that 60 times 3 equals 180. So we're going to multiply the top by 3. And we get x equals 3. So we're gonna get that 3 hours gives us 180 minutes. And you're gonna do that so on and so on. Now we get to multiplying fractions. So we're gonna do number 2 together, and we get 8 times 1/4. Now for multiplication, you don't need to worry about getting the same denominators. We just need to multiply across. And we know that 8 is a whole number, right? And 1/4 is a fraction. And we want 8 to be a fraction too. So, and we know that 8 is the same thing as 8 over 1. Oh, that's an ugly 8. 8 over 1. Right? So we're just going to assume that's a fraction. So 8 over 1 times 1 over 4. And we're just going to multiply across. We get 8 over 4. And once you're finished multiplying, you always have to make sure to simplify. See if it's any, if you could simplify more until it's not simplifiable, okay? So, and we know that 8 over 4 is simplifiable to 2. And obviously 2 over 1, it's not, and you can't simplify it any further. So 2 is your final answer. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this helps you guys a bit.